Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Hello and welcome to Harvest to Pour. I'm your host, Matthew Shipp, and today I am here with Dr. Mike Smith from ActionCO. ActionCO is a coaching program that uses proven strategies to help grow your profits, keeping you in control of your future and your time. And I'm sure we'll find out more about that. But first, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. I'm very excited about it. As you know, here in Missouri, we had our seasonal confusion, a little bit of snow this morning, so trying to dig out
in the crazy winds. Yeah, it's been nuts. So let us know a little bit about yourself and how you got to action coaching and just what's inspired you to take this route.
Sure. I grew up in rural Indiana. I was very interested in businesses and entrepreneurship. My family were farmers and my dad owned a construction company and always had an interest in that. I always kind of envied Michael J. Fox and always was kind of the business guy. I had a business in high school and, I made a lot of woodworking things for a lot of the mothers of my friends and paid my way through college doing that and doing woodworking, etc. And majored in entrepreneurship in college and went to the number one program in the country at the time at Ball State University. And all of our courses in our senior year were ARF. You wrote a business plan and they would finance it or they wouldn't. If you didn't, you came back the following year. So it was all about the few, the proud.
The sharks.
Yeah. Well, and from that standpoint, I went to work for a few different companies. One was the largest swimming pool company in Indiana and turned it around from a $100,000 loss to a $60,000 gain in 1 year. That was pretty good. The second year I tried to buy it. The bankers thought I was a really cute 22-year-old kid trying to do a leverage buyout of the company. They ended up buying, actually the committee out of the 6 people, 4 of them bought swimming pools. So we did that. With that said, we sold it to a competitor because he had a buyout from Western Electric and he had a family there, 2 sons and a daughter. So I went on to other things and went to work for some of the Fortune 500 companies that actually gave me some great experience on processes and how to really measure metrics and KPIs and those type of things. And from there, really just wherever there was opportunity, they always put me there and I was the challenge. And I came to find out I really am not an entrepreneur. I don't like to start up things and go from start. I'm a person who has a lot of experience in the Fortune 500 that's come in and really can put in processes and help you with mastering the strategies and the tactics and acquisitions and integrations and leadership and be able to help you scale your business really quick. So I'm always kind of the guy that helps you scale and scale quickly because I've been there, done that through different avenues from startups to acquisitions. One company I worked for, we actually acquired 220 companies and integrated them. That wasn't all me. I integrated about 20 of them. So I had a lot of experience working with people who had started up, had nothing the first year, a couple years later, a few years later, they're selling it to us for a few $1 million. And from there, did large organizational transformations in really big companies, take the same processes I was doing when I was younger of smaller companies. You keep moving those up until you get into the multi-Fortune 50 companies, same type of things. And during those times, you go in and you're a business accelerator and a transformational person. And at some point in time, the transformation is no longer needed. So you get to be a free agent, move on. So I was a free agent, moved on and said, it's now time in my 50s that I should really go out and, do what I want to do. And I kept looking at ActionCO, and ActionCO was the one that I chose to go help companies accelerate and do what they can do better around time, money, and people and processes and technology. So here I am today, and that's what I've been doing for about the last year and a half or so.
So what stood out to you about action coaching? Because you have a lot of, you said you didn't want to be the entrepreneur, but it looks like you grabbed a lot of that entrepreneurial experience and used it in Fortune 500. Is there a connection there between there and action coaching?
Yeah, I would say there's a concept called entrepreneurship, and that's more of someone who will take something and run with it. When I was talking about the big company I worked for, I kind of grew up there. I was there for 15 years and always got responsibility. And actually, after doing some big acquisitions, they put me in charge of a thing called the shredding business. And we grew it to $23 million in over 4 years, in less than 4 years, from zero to $23 million. And we run out of capacity. We run out of people, we had plenty of capital, but we just couldn't get it all done. So we actually integrated with an existing business that was already there, information management, and used their account management, their salespeople, everybody else, and integrated. So it's more about entrepreneurship, and that's what I really loved. And I really love when something is not doing very well and it really accelerates and does very well, and you get it done the right way through built to last processes and helping, to measure, hold people accountable and let them feel good about, because accountability works both ways, right? There's accountability when it works the wrong way, but there's accountability when it works the right way. And you make heroes out of those, who are champions. And that really led me to where I am today. And I chose Action Coach. Action Coach has over, 3,000 different strategies. It's very organized. You have to have over 500 hours of certification to actually even put an Action Coach shingle up. And then as a firm owner, you have to have additional. So I'm both certified business and executive coach. And early in my career through tuition reimbursement, I was able to get certified in coaching in 2007. And then I got executive coaching certified in 2008. And that helped me with the development of a lot of people who work for me and helped me with the development of a lot of those who work for others. So that was kind of my savvy stay around organizational leadership and how I like to develop others that can go and perform. So.
Okay. So you said, it seems like you're really focused on processes and growth for growing capital. So I have businesses, the businesses that I typically talk to, I ask them what their harvest to pour journey is. And when they're in the beverage industry, I'm usually like, how do they source? How do they make what they make uniquely theirs? And the pour is sort of the marketing. Along that journey, as a company would grow, and harvest to pour can also be used idea to execution. So their idea, growing their idea into a business and executing it. What part of that journey do you feel you come in at?
I think about this a lot because I talk to a lot of people who've started up. I'm more of when they're getting ready to go into the next phase of growth. So they actually have the capacity, organizational capacity. They have the capital capacity. They have the need and the want capacity. And they have the ability to want to do that. And so when they want to move from, it's a lot who grow from $1 million to 3 million. There's a lot of things that have to happen. There's a lot of things you have to do from 3 million to 10 million. There's a lot of things you have to do from 10 million to 50 million. So each one of those are different organizational transformations that need to happen and different platforms that need to happen. It's 20% of the technology, 40% of the process, and then the rest are all people. I've seen a lot of people take processes that are really bad, automate them, and they have a really bad automated process. You probably dealt with that through different 1-800 numbers that you call. But basically, once they have the capacity, they want to do it, then it's going in and setting a framework. The majority of businesses that are fast growing, the majority that go bankrupt actually go bankrupt after their best year. The reason why they do this is because they're starved on capital. And as they have a really good year, a banner year, let's say, for example, last year in the roofing industry, right? They put more roofs up than they have the last 5 years because there was a whole lot of hail damage. Well, you can't just go overspend in that one, boom year that you have because you're going to have a couple of years that are going to be a little bit tougher. So it's really helping them to test and measure each of those strategies. Let's implement the strategy and let's grow, and we'll test and measure it, and we'll implement the strategy and grow, test and measure it, implement the strategy and grow and test and measure it. So.
Do all businesses know they're at that phase of growth? And how would they know that you're up against that wall of growth and you need to survive or die at that point? What are some indicators?
Yeah, we do a lot around what we call the 6 steps, and a lot of it's around the mastery. So a lot of startups have a hard time with time mastery. It's mastering their ability to be on, to do marketing, to go do certain things. Then they grow and they start getting their marketing in place, right? They now have marketing that's in place. They're now getting steady revenue. And that moves them into phase 3, which is really, financial stability and predictable cash flow. Once they get to predictable cash flow, that's where a lot of businesses can actually go out and they're making a lot of money, but they could make more money, but they could be spending more time with their family, right? It's going in and all of a sudden, we call a business a commercially viable business that can operate without you. When you get to the level, like our level 4 and 5, we're getting a general manager in there. We're helping you be able to run your business and there's someone that's running it for you. And that's the way that we go through and look at that. So it's the pain that they have and what they're willing to do and sacrifice for that level of pain are the indicators. And all of mine are through conversations. And, until the rate of pain, and I said this in big companies, 2 things. 1, the greatest hearing aid ever made is the wallet, because when something costs you, you hear it very well and you understand that. And nothing changes until the rate of pain is greater than the rate of change. So when the pain is bad enough, folks will look out for that. And a lot of times it's helping them I do assessments with them and let them go in and look and say, here's where we're at. If you wanted to go in and take your process and break it down in smaller pieces and fix each one of those pieces 1 or 2% better, here's the overall results that you're going to get. So it's not always about going in 40% growth, hiring 15 salespeople, buying 4 more, service trucks. It's about planned and organized growth. And when you have planned and organized growth, normally you have profitable growth.
And now a word from our sponsors. Are you ready to try something refreshingly different? Bluebird Hard Water is not your typical beverage. It's a clean, non-carbonated alcoholic water crafted with simple, pure ingredients, no preservatives, no added fluff. Just quality you can taste without the fog, the bloat, or the regret. Whether at the beach, on the golf course, or just relaxing at home, Bluebird Hard Water is a perfect companion for your active lifestyle. Check out Bluebird Hard Water today at bluebirdhardwater.com to find out more about their story and where you can grab a can. The link is in the show notes, so don't miss it. Bluebird Hard Water, keeping it simple, clean, and refreshing every time. Hey, are you spinning your wheels trying to figure out what will really boost your business's bottom line? At Emberry Solutions, our Profit Priority Workshop is here to cut through the noise. We help you zero in on what truly matters, aligning your team, optimizing your processes, and magnifying your profits. Imagine your business running smoother than ever, with every decision and effort leading straight to increased profits. That's what focusing on the right priorities can do. Ready to boost your efficiency and profits? Visit Emberry Solutions and let's start making your business work smarter. At Emberry Solutions, we take your business from bottlenecks to breakthroughs. So what should a business owner be asking of themselves to determine if they need to come talk to you?
So I think there's three different things. I think one, that they have the desire to grow. So they want to continue to grow. They don't want to stay stagnant, right? In today's world, there's a lot of competition out there. There's new HVAC vendors. There's new companies coming all the time. There's things coming like AI. There's things around implementing a CRM system, et cetera. So if the business owner knows that they want to grow, but they're not sure how to get there, that's a great conversation to have with me. Number two, they may not be hitting the numbers that they hit before. And they're trying to figure out, why can't I hit the same numbers I used to hit before? Used to do $1.5 million a year, and now I'm only doing $1 million a year. How am I able to go through and fix that? And then the third one becomes, look, I want to start thinking about, and this is where I work with a lot of financial advisors, accountants, and bookkeepers on referrals, is they have a person who owns a business. They're in their late 50s, early 60s, and they're looking for a time horizon to someday either sell the business or hand it over to their family or have an employee purchase. And they'll come and talk to me and we'll go, well, let's figure this out and let's put a 5-year plan together, 4-year plan, 3-year plan, whatever you have, and figure out how you can grow it profitably so you can sell it for the maximum amount of money that you can. One of the biggest issues that they have is called the golden age of businesses, is that there's a lot of people in their 60s and above that have a business that they need to sell, but they don't have anybody to sell it to.
Okay.
So that's the fourth one, I guess I would add.
New and upcoming problem that I see on the horizon. It's been really well publicized at this point. Or is it, do they not have somebody to sell to because they are the face of the business and without them, the business dies? Or is it more than that?
All the above. So you have really profitable businesses, which are what the private equity are coming in and buying up, right? They're coming in and buying up home services, and you'll see them roll up 4 or 5 of those. That's fine. Those are easier to sell. There has to be a business that can operate without you. So if I'm Mike Smith Construction and I'm myself and 2 guys in a truck, what keeps competition away from that? What keeps the ability for someone just to come in? What am I selling? An entrepreneur is someone who will work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work for someone else for 40 hours a week. Yeah. They want to be able to take what they have as they own a job and be able to start moving things and getting things done through others and scale it so they have an asset to sell versus a job to sell. We help them get through that. And a lot of times business owners, the family members, you sacrificed all these things as your parents grew up, et cetera. The family today doesn't always take over businesses like they used to do the family farm. That's less frequent that you see today than you actually used to see in the past. You would see 3, 4, or 5 generations run the same business, a lumber company or a milling company or something. And today you see a lot less of that because there's other roles and other jobs that are of interest to the children. Right. So helping them transition from either selling it to current employees or transitioning to an employee stock ownership program, or converting it to where they have a general manager and they run it someone runs it while they're retired.
So in Action Coaches, take us through a few steps of how you either help a business take that next step into the growth or scalability phase, or if you want to help them take the steps into exiting their company.
Right. So I end up having an initial coach on deck call, which is a conversation of 15 minutes, 30 minutes, where it might be just share with me what you want to know, what you want to, and from there decide if there's something that we can end up working together. And then from there, I go into what we call a diag. And a diag is really a full-on strategy session that we sit down and go through really the nuts and bolts of what your goals are, short-term, long-term, personal, business, what are your current numbers? How are you getting numbers? It's really a diag of your business, diagnostic. It's about 90 minutes to 2 hours. And we go through it and I provide back a report and say, from what I understand, because it's really about getting clarity of an alignment to what we're having a conversation about, because I have to ask a lot of questions to get the answer, because people are different about their business, and they own a business. They're very sensitive about it, but you got to really dig down and get the answer, the real answer, because at the end of the day, your business goals have to align with your personal goals, or you're kind of fooling yourself, right? And if you're able to align those two and align with your stakeholders, your family members, i.e. your spouse or whomever be able to align those, then all of a sudden you have a breakthrough, because now you can actually determine your current state, and the current state. Look, everybody needs help in business, or they wouldn't, there wouldn't be accountants, coaches, tax attorneys, everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. So it's asking for that. And then going through and designing a plan. We do profit acceleration. So I have a profit acceleration system that I use. We can go through, put in, your numbers, put in your industry averages, and say, do you want to be the top 50% or low 50%? Because here's the industry averages. How can we help you get these industry averages so your business is as sellable and as marketable as possible? Once the diag's done, we do that assessment, and then here's a proposal, and here's how we can help you, and here's the value that you're going to get. In coaching, within 90 days, I should be giving you back 3 times what you pay me, or you shouldn't have a coach. It should be a cost-free event. It should be, look, I'm, paying you to get set up, but once I get up and get stood up, you're my most valuable part-time employee that comes in and helps me get through all these things and help me work on my business versus in my business.
So on that, what is one thing a business owner could do like right now to improve their profit, their cash growth, or realize that, hey, maybe it's time that I start looking on stepping away, maybe not stepping out of, but stepping back?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I challenge people I talk to on is to really come back and go, do you really know all your numbers? Do you really know your average sale? Do you really know the number of transactions? Do you really have leads that come in, and where those leads generated from? What's the current state? I'm big into assessments, because really evaluating what your current state is, balance it up against what's out there. Then all of a sudden you're able to measure yourself. And by the way, you hope you're not as good as everybody else, because then you got room for improvement. If you're better than everybody else, then, we're kind of wasting our time. But if there's room for improvement, that's great for you. That's money on the table.
I really like that. Know your numbers to understand your current state. That's great advice.
Yep.
All right. A couple more questions. This one is kind of fun. Being the business of beverages here, what is your favorite beverage?
So my favorite beverage, it came to me through my grandfather-in-law when I was probably in my 40s. I was always a beer drinker, and was cleaning out his basement. He'd been a big Freemason Shriner guy, the Shriner guys that have fun. And he had a whole bunch of gin down there. I'm like, well, if he must like it, let me try it. Gin and tonic guy. I love gin and tonic. I love all kinds of gin. I never had a bad gin. I go into, Total Wine, and I'll just start, I'll start one and buy one down to the end. So
wow.
I love gin. I mean, there's some from Japan, there's some from London, there's some from everywhere. It's really an interesting thing that I like. And I drink it, and you'll see me in the winter drink a gin and tonic like you should in the summer, but I drink it in the winter.
So you're not impartial, as long as it's gin.
Yep. I like gin. I don't know why. I just do.
All right. So the question is, do you have any events, promotions, anything with action coaching that you would like somebody that might be interested in scaling or exiting, where they could find you as well?
Yeah, I think the best thing is to keep this conversation timely. I'm on Eventbrite, Dr. Mike Smith, Action Coach at Eventbrite. And when we send this out, we'll put an Eventbrite there. I have 6 steps workshops that are free. They're online. I also have them in person. And from there, those 6 steps are really walking through what we just talked about, and really having you sit there and provoke you to think for 90 minutes about the 6 steps we just talked about, right? All the way from mastery to marketing to predictable cash flow to et cetera. And that's really the best way to have a conversation. And then, of course, on my website, we have free assessments. We have how to contact, and that site will be in here as well. And it's St. Louis West.actioncoach.us.
All right.
And you can find me on all the social media sites as well, but we'll have those down. But we have those 6 steps all the time. And we do have profit acceleration seminars that are free. And that's really not to sell you, it's to inform you. And when you come in and you listen and you go through it all, I encourage people, especially the small business owners, to bring in people who might do their billing, people who might do stuff in their office. A lot of them have relatives who do things in their office. Bring them with you, or let them listen to it as well, because There's things they will get from it. If you're the guy who's out doing all the plumbing, all the heating, all the air conditioning, the person in the office is going to get a little bit more from it as well. So that's what I recommend.
Well, I think you've offered the most options that people can try out for free. Anybody I've ever had in the show. So thank you for that. And hopefully businesses listening will take advantage of that. Mike, it's been really great. I really love how you just kind of taken the entrepreneur piece and like, it ain't for me, but I can still use it in that entrepreneurial spirit, and sharing your experiences of how you've grown capital for companies, and just understanding that next phase of growth and really helping companies grow, and now using action coaches and their strategies to further that step and kind of further your mission down of helping business owners, free up their time, create more profit for themselves, and more freedom for themselves in the end is what we're after. Again, I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for talking to us.
Thanks for asking me. It has been a great show, and thank you for the interview.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shipp. Check the show notes for our guest contact information and connect with Matthew Shipp on LinkedIn today.